Okay, so this is me rambling incoherently about the new design for Lola Bunny because I have literally nothing better to do with my life. Uh, I'm a middle-aged furry black man, and I just got done pouring down something to drink, and I literally have no fucking idea what they did to Lola Bunny. It's frankly terrifying to me, and and I'm not just saying that because they completely disfigured her, but I am gonna fucking go into that for a moment just to grasp what the hell is going on here. So there are some people that are making this absurd argument about somehow or another, like, oh, you're just comparing this to fan art. No, fucker, I'm not comparing it to fan art. If I was comparing it to fan art, I'd be comparing it to something a lot more attractive than what they did anyway. But I'm also comparing this to the way she looked in the original fucking Space Jam, which I saw as a youth quotation marks here. I saw as a youth, and to be perfectly honest, even there she was more attractive. Now, she wasn't exactly like popping buttons off of her shirt because of how big her tits were, but she did have visible tits. She had visible tits in the 2020 motherfucking Looney cartoon show where they literally turned her from like this assertive tsundere, and I'm going to get to that in a moment too. They literally turned her from like this assertive tsundere into some kind of like bimbo airhead from Los Angeles. Like, what? Okay, let me rephrase that. They turned her into an average woman from Los Angeles, but I digress. Beyond that, however, and this is just my neckbeard opinion, you don't like it, suck my dick. But beyond that, however, in the original Space Jam, she had visible breasts, she had visible hips, she actually had like a toned physique and legs that look like legs. And again, I'll get to that in a moment. And she had an attractive face. And whether you agree with that or you think, oh, you're a weirdo because you're a furry, yeah, okay, suck my dick as usual. But here's the fucking problem with all that. Back then, no matter how quotation marks unrealistic she looked, she still looked like a human being, or rather, she looked like an anthropomorphic rabbit. She didn't look like, I don't know what this modern Lola Bunny looks like. She looks like someone you would meet at fucking rehab, for the love of Christ. I mean, she has like these weird puffed out cheeks that look like someone just punched her in the face. It looks like she's in an abusive relationship with Bugs, which, given the fact that Bugs is like literally a misogynist, and we'll get to that in a second too, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he did sock her in the face more than once with a hammer he pulled out of his ass, because Looney Tunes can do that. They can just pull objects out their asshole and hit people with it. Sadly, Lola never did that because at least we get a look at her ass cheeks back in the original Space Jam, but I digress. Once again, I digress. Back then, she looked like what you would expect an adult woman to look like. Now she does. I said once in a post somewhere else that she looked like a 12-year-old. I said this in a post on Play for Cinema, which you should watch, by the way. He has a great channel for furries. And I believe I said the same post in a Saber Spark video. He was talking about it. And again, you should watch Saber Spark. He's a great channel. But I'm going off topic. She looks like a 12-year-old boy. She has none of the fucking features that you would expect for an adult woman. And not even an adult anthropomorphic bunny woman. She doesn't look like an adult human woman. Let's put this into fucking perspective for a moment. She has no breasts, and I'm not talking about being flat chested like an A cup, because it's not like she wasn't bursting open her shirts to the point where there was literally impossible to button up before, but she had what were defined as physical breasts that were visible on her body. More importantly, she had like a toned physique. She had a slim waist. She had toned legs. She had a tight ass. She had various things that you would expect twist ending on an adult woman. What does she have now? She has a waist that goes straight down without any discernible way to connect it to the rest of her body. They sawed off her fucking breasts, apparently. Her hips are now wider than her shoulders, and her legs go completely fucking down from her hips, wider than normal legs would be, by the way. They completely go down, not even thigh gap wide. They're literally like on either side of her body, going completely down like poles with no knee. So they actually made her less realistic than before. Meanwhile, her face is all puffed out as if she just got out of motherfucking rehab. This is the most hilarious attempt at desexualizing a character, quotation marks, that I have ever fucking seen in my life. Okay? I mean, this is like they've desexualized quotation marks lots of comic book females before. They desexualized quotation marks She-Ra before. But let's all just kind of be clear with ourselves. Let's put all of our fucking cards on the table. When they desexualized She-Ra, she looked like an adult woman. When they desexualized these comic book characters, they look like adult women. I don't know what the fuck this version of Lola looks like. She doesn't look like an adult woman. She doesn't look like a living thing. She looks like she has a waist that's literally the same width as her shoulders. She has hips that are wider than her shoulders. She has legs with no knees, and her face looks like she had way too much collagen injected into it. I almost want them to bring this up as a motherfucking plot point in the movie. Like, I genuinely want them to fucking have something where, like, LeBron James looks at her and says, like, wow, you don't look anything like the way that MJ described you. Not the Michael Jackson MJ, the other MJ. You don't look anything like MJ described you. And she just kind of scoffs and says, oh yeah, well, you know, it's been 27 years, so I'm like in my 50s now, so I decided to just let myself go and or have my breast implants removed. Because at least if that happened, it would kind of make sense as to what's going on. This doesn't make any sense. And that still wouldn't explain why her legs apparently have no knees. So I guess she was in a car accident and her legs were sheared off and they just had to cut them the fuck off or something. I don't even fucking understand. And this isn't, and you said, like, oh, well, it's an anthropomorphic rabbit. Who cares if she's realistic? It doesn't matter whether or not she's realistic. It matters whether or not she actually looks alive. She looked like a living thing in the first movie. Now she looks like a drawing a 6-year-old would make. And everyone is saying, like, oh, you're just looking at fan art. No, I'm not looking at fan art. Again, Play First Cinema, go check out his channel. Took a picture of her from the original movie, took a picture, like a still from the original movie, took a picture of her now, put the two of them side by side, and you can clearly see the one of them looks like a living being, and the other one looks like something you would see in The Thing. That's a problem. That shouldn't be possible. If I actually knew how to fucking edit a video, I'd put the fucking pictures up here. But needless to say, it doesn't take a fucking neckbeard like me to fucking come across this information and instantly realize what the fuck is going wrong. I showed this to someone. I showed this to a woman, to be perfectly honest with you, and she was able. She's not even a fucking furry, okay? She you know, this is like a person that got her that worked as a teacher, and I showed it to her. Someone who isn't a furry, isn't interested in women, and could give less of a fuck about this movie. And I showed it to her, and she was able to instantly discern what the fuck was wrong. And one of the first sentences out of her mouth was, "What the fuck is this?" She said hell. She didn't say fuck, but that's because she doesn't have the same nomenclature as I do. But that's not relevant. The point is that I've seen adult women, and again, I wish I could give like a link or something like that, but I don't know how to fucking edit a video. This is just me screaming. I wish I could give like a link to this, but there was an adult woman who did a fucking review about this, and she pointed out that this does not look like a living thing. It doesn't even look like a cartoon thing. It doesn't look like anything. It looks like a 6-year-old's attempt to draw a 12-year-old boy in drag. And again, like there's the idiot director that wrote this fucking movie is saying, like, well, I'm trying to desexualize her so that she becomes a strong, athletic female character. Oh, really, motherfucker? Okay, let's back the fuck up on that theory for a second. You want a strong, athletic person? Okay, let's talk about Serena and Venus Williams for a second. These are two women that have the general proportions of what would be described as adult women, even though they're world champion fucking athletes. So apparently, it's possible for an adult woman to, ooh, M. Night Shyamalan, twist ending, develop breasts at some point in her life and still be a fucking athlete. Simone Biles doesn't even have particularly large breasts, but she has visible breasts of some sort and visible hips of some sort and legs that have fucking knees. That shouldn't even be something you have to request. Could you draw her legs with knees? And this is the thing, like, I never thought I was gonna say, because I honestly, like, when I saw the 2020 Looney Tunes show version of Lola Bunny, I literally said to someone, again, I made like a post of this on like Play for a Cinema page. You should watch it. Watch his channel. And I made like a comment about this, and I literally said in no uncertain terms, the 2020 Lola is ridiculous. They made her into such a bimbo. And I was literally saying like her feet are too big. And wow, do I feel fucking stupid in retrospect. I feel like I feel like I was developing a foot fetish or something. Because I was like, oh, her feet are too fucking big. And now I'm looking back on that. I actually saw like a picture of 2020 Lola Bunny and a picture of this new Lola Bunny. And the Looney Tunes show Lola Bunny had tits, and her hips weren't wider than her shoulders, and her waist wasn't literally the same width as her shoulders. It's almost like she was drawn by someone competent. And this nonsense about like, oh, she has to be this strong, independent woman. That means she can't develop breasts. The strong, independent women stop developing when they hit the age of 8. They just get slightly taller. She's not even that tall now. She's a midget. So basically, according to this director, Mr. Lee, or whatever the fuck his name is, the concept of a strong female athlete is Tyrion Lannister in drag. I wouldn't even say Tyrion Lannister with breast implants. This is basically like Tyrion Lannister transitioning into a woman. That's what they turned Lola Bunny into. They've turned her into a midget that's transitioning into a woman. And if you wanted to have a character like that, fine. They had derpy hooves on MLP. Yes, I'm a brony. Fuck you. They had a derpy hooves on MLP, and she had Down syndrome. If you want to have a character that looks like a man transitioning into a woman in your fucking movie, do that. But don't take a pre-existing character and then disfigure her so she looks like a man transitioning into a woman. A midget man transitioning into a woman. And she didn't even have like this weak-willed personality in the first place. That was what pissed me off about the Looney Tunes show version of Lola Bunny, was that they turned her into some sort of bimbo from LA, or as I said, just a woman from LA, as opposed to originally she had this like tough, no bullshit tsundere personality. Like there was literally a scene where like Bugs Bunny tried to hit on her. She basically beat the shit out of him and stepped over his corpse. So and then there was scenes in the fucking movie where the monsters, quotation marks, who were like basically these alien creatures that had the ability to shapeshift, kind of like the Thing. Ironically, they had these abilities to shapeshift. She beat the shit out of them, even though they were 10 feet motherfucking tall aliens that had superhuman strength. She beat the shit out of them, played basketball better than them, even though they had stolen the abilities of actual basketball players to try to defeat her. And she still just moved on with her life. So they've actually toned her down into an ugly, fucked up bimbo with too much collagen injected into her face and no breast implants. Like, so they've actually made her weaker. Also, because they said they're making her more like the fucking other Looney Tunes. So they've made her weaker, dumber, and flatter than she was before. That's not even going into the fucking fan art and what they did to that. Oh, that's just Rule 34. Yeah, suck my dick and swallow, asshole. It doesn't matter whether it's Rule 34 or not, because Rule 34 exists for a reason. If it's on the internet, there's porn of it. You know why? Because people masturbate to things. Oh, you're just a furry. You masturbate to anything. Yes, I am a furry. Yes, I do masturbate to pictures of Lola Bunny. I masturbate to pictures of Judy Hopps. I masturbate to pictures of Rarity the Unicorn and stuff like that. I'm not ashamed of that. Neither are most furries ashamed of that, because it's a kink, you blithering idiot. It's a fucking kink. It's a sexual fetish. Nobody questions people who have a BDSM fetish where they want to lay on the ground and have someone whip them. Nobody thinks that weird. But if I don't want to injure another person or have sex with a person in a weird position, I just want to look at a picture of something on the internet and beat off to it, I'm the fucking weirdo. That's why Rule 34 doesn't make any fucking sense. Unless you're literally looking at God knows what, unless you're a no map, and look that up and you'll see what that means. Unless you're a fucking no map, it shouldn't fucking matter what you beat off to on the goddamn internet, because it's your time. You can beat off to it whenever the fuck you want. That's why Rule 34 exists. It's meant as a joke. If you're upset that there's porn or something on the internet, there's something wrong with you. If you think it's a problem with somebody beating off to Lola Bunny on the internet, that means you're trying to flex on people that you think are weirdos. And if you think they're so weird, then why the fuck are you commenting? This is just me rambling incoherently at this point, but I just needed to fucking vent, and I'm probably gonna make like other videos where I vent about other things because God only knows I have positions on politics that have upset everyone's. Spoiler warning: I'm in the alt right. Oh, but the alt right is for white supremacists. No, no, it isn't. But anywho, so that's another aspect of my childhood that's been held down and fucked at knife point. I feel like I made friends with the BTK killer at this point because literally everything that had any meaning of my life disappeared at the end of the 90s. And now I'm just sitting here alone and trying to play Overwatch. Oh, you're a weirdo. Yeah, I am. What of it?